In today's episode of the Positive Worth podcast, I speak with entrepreneur Greg Rogers. Greg is an accomplished physical therapist who specializes in orthopedics and sports performance. I'm really looking forward to you hearing more about his goals as they pertain to family and holistic well-being. I'm James Oliver, your host, and you've just joined me on my journey of holistic learning, where I talk with people about the 5 F's in their life: field, family, finance, fitness, and faith. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe to help the algorithm, and you can always support us by going to our Patreon page by just searching on Patreon for Positive Worth.
Greg, thanks for joining me for a podcast episode.
Absolutely.
As you know, I have millions of viewers.
Yes.
And so that's why you agreed to be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stick to the top stuff only.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. I don't have time for the little guys. Well, my name's Greg Rogers. I recently, just this year, started Rogers Physical Therapy and Sports Performance, which is a clinic in Walla Walla, Washington. And my specialty within physical therapy is orthopedics. I'm board certified, so I focus on orthopedics, orthopedic conditions, and naturally that lends itself to athletics and sports performance. And so I treat here locally, in person, and also via telehealth, patients who want to get back to really any activity. And I like the pretty broad definition of what an athlete is and what a sport is. And if you keep that definition pretty broad, you can help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Something that I struggled with before, I worked in the medical industry for a while. So just a clarification for anyone watching.
Sure.
What is orthopedics? Because you said you specialize
Orthopedics
there.
is, like by the definition, you're talking about bones.
Okay.
Within physical therapy, you're talking about the musculoskeletal system. So muscles, ligaments, tendons, bones, the joints, how they move, the biomechanics of a system of joints and the musculoskeletal system as a whole. And that's sort of to differentiate between, say, like other specialties within physical therapy, like pediatrics or neurology, women's health.
Okay.
Geriatrics is its own specialty now, although lots of neuro and ortho, within geriatrics.
Yeah, and now we're getting into, again, more definitions where I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, but so we're talking about specializing in things that have to do with the bones,
Yep.
even though physical therapy is more all-encompassing. So you specialize there, you're doing athletics, and you've decided to open your own business. And so I was intrigued to talk to you and include you in this podcast because I'm 3 months into my own entrepreneurial journey, and I want to hear more from others about what they've done, what gives them some level of hope of success. But I have 5 F's that I like to focus on in no specific order. But we've talked a little bit about the first one already, which is field. So you've chosen, clearly you had to go to school to be a physical therapist. So physical therapy's been a journey for a long time. But you've chosen to strike out on your own with physical therapy. And so I'm wondering about a couple of other areas and wondering how they have impacted that decision. So the first one I want to ask you about is how has family impacted you and your decision of what your career path and your entrepreneurial journey was going to be?
Provided motivation mostly. I have a daughter, she's 2, just over 2. And, so any young parent will tell you that things change when you bring kids into the world and you're responsible for them and you're thinking long term, you're thinking about their well-being, you're thinking about raising kids, and so your priorities shift a little bit. And so that's motivation for me to provide for them, set an example for them, and really try to plan out the next few decades for me, a decade or 2 for them, and it really makes you think, and that is a big source of motivation for me. And I can't imagine that's unusual for a lot of young entrepreneurs with families. I think that's got to be pretty common. But it's not money as in like providing, but it's about creating an atmosphere and a home to raise your kids in that is where you're doing things for the right reasons, and what is happiness really, or contentment really. I think that's sort of the crux of it all, is what kind of a lifestyle is actually meaningful. Because chasing money's fine, but I don't know, that just feels a little hollow to me, if that's what you're after. And so having a lifestyle that allows you to spend a lot of family time, which therefore is meaningful, and and high quality, that's becomes priority when you start to have a family and that you care about. Yeah.
One thing that other people have mentioned when I've asked about family is the level of support they get from their family. And I'm curious, in particular with your wife, Haley, is this something that she's been on board with, something that she's reluctant with? How has support
No, she's been incredibly supportive. Yeah, she's awesome. So
I didn't know the answer to this ahead of time, so I was kind of walking out there. But Haley, thank you for being a good wife.
Yeah, no, she's incredible. She's in school for herself. She's going to be a nurse practitioner, a women's health specialty, and she's teaching now. She's helping me raise our daughter. She's an incredible mom. So she's doing all this juggling of her own.
Yeah.
And with good communication with her, allows us to do all these different things. She's in school, I'm here. We're both kind of pursuing our own paths, but for the same reasons,
Sure.
That I just laid out. And that's kind of her version of that, is what kind of a lifestyle is sort of the end goal in the next few years, 5 years, something, like that is something that we're working towards together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you created a pretty good segue earlier when you were mentioning how finances have played into this. Can you expound a little bit on that? Because that's another one of the F's that I'm asking people about.
Yeah, that's like the reality of the whole thing, right? Yeah, it's like you can't make moves like this without looking at that. And so, making a living, of course, that's important, but also doing it in a way that will, with a business model that will get you clients, but also one that will provide for your family. So finding a balance there was something that I had to do, understanding my field and my marketplace and, my clientele and, the different ways there are of earning incomes. I just had to find a balance where I could make enough to provide for my family, but also where my clients win as well, where they're going to have a quality product from me or a quality service from me, and have a balance there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of, we're sitting in a pretty well-stocked gym right now, and one of the questions that I had when I first saw you posting about starting your own business was, what kind of overhead are you experiencing in starting up your own physical therapy business, especially focusing on athletics? I mean, is this all your equipment, your building?
Yeah, so this is a rented space. This is a shared space, and so to have the equipment, there's a cost with that for sure. Within physical therapy, there's a lot of different startup models. I mean, you can start from the ground up, build a big building that's well stocked. You can rent a little room that's attached, to a gym of some kind. That's very, very low overhead, and so there's lots of variability in there. I was fortunate to find a place here. We've got a treatment room, an office we've got great space next door. So I was fortunate to kind of find a scenario. The business here, the landlord here, we work very well together, and it was a situation that just I feel very fortunate to find or to have found. But there's a lot of different ways that physical therapists can get started.
Cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it sounds like family is a pretty big priority for you, and having a certain level of of liberty to take time off or be flexible with your own schedule. But
Sure.
do you have like markers that you'd like to be hitting financially with this kind of a business? Have you thought that far into the future yet?
Yeah, I mean, not like numbers, not in terms of numbers. To replace, my, say, like my old job, or to, that's obviously a benchmark, and then sort of multiples thereof. You know, to me, the benchmarks are going to have more to do with time spent with family. That would be where I would feel that I've made it.
Yeah.
If you're spending every dinner at home with your family, every breakfast, with your kids before school, I don't know, things like that.
Yeah.
Of course, the weekends are just family. That's my benchmarks would be hours probably. Not that I have anything set, but that's the idea. Yeah.
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 So the next piece that I'm asking people about is faith, and I've already gotten a variety of answers from people about how faith has impacted their decisions to embark on their own entrepreneurial journeys. What role has faith played for you, or is it playing a role for you in this?
Yeah, I think where the rubber meets the road there is knowing that is having good motives and having the why, I guess it might be a little cliche, but the true reasons you are for doing the things that I'm doing. I truly believe that the model that I'm operating under is a win-win for me and my clients. I think where I'm at is better than where I've been, and I think that if a patient comes here and it's the right fit, they will do better than other options that they may have.
Yeah.
And of course, none of that is 100% true across the board. There are other, great clinicians here in our town, in the valley, but for the most part, I think that it's going to be a win-win. If I was truly out for money, if I was truly out for, some version of local fame or whatever, if those motives were just like not as service oriented, I think I might come up a little short. So to me, there's a service, aspect of it. I think the community is better when people like me are doing things like this, and I hope others do as well. I think more physical therapists doing what I'm doing is good for the profession and our clients and the community.
Yeah.
And those things, I truly think that they go together, and I think that we all benefit. So to me, there's an avenue of faith that has to do with serving. It's about healing. It's about getting people better, and it's about helping others around you, which I think we're called to do. And if that's my gift, if that's what I have to offer people, you could go so far as to say that I'm obligated to do it, but I think I found an area where we can all benefit. My lifestyle gets better. My patients' quality of life gets better. I'm happier. They're happier. Why not?
Yeah.
And if you have that scenario sitting in front of you, where did that come from? Is that God laying out a plan for you? I mean, I don't know, but probably a good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there does come a moment where you have to step out in faith and say, is this, was this path laid out for me? And I don't know if I'll ever know the answer to that, but it's pretty hard to argue with it a lot of times, I think. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I think, the idea that faith is something that you can't see, can't touch it, taste it, smell it, or something. You have to.
That's the definition, right? It's the definition of faith. Right.
Okay, so this is one that I'm sure is somewhat near and dear to your heart in a certain way. So I'm going to be careful how I ask it to you. the final F that I ask people about is fitness.
Yeah.
And so rather than thinking about the fitness of your clients as someone who's, of course, doing sports as a focus, how has your own personal fitness impacted your decision to do what you do as a career and especially embark on this entrepreneurial journey?
There's a lot of different avenues to fitness, and there's lots of different styles to fitness. And that is pretty important. Just like faith, just like with finances and family, we're all on our own. There's many different paths and many different journeys that we all have versions of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important to know that everybody's in a different place there, but everybody's also has a different frame of reference. Somebody and you don't know where somebody's been, and so when people come in, you're always trying to figure that out. For me, I have treated people across the lifespan from incredibly young to incredibly old, and so fitness for me has always got that perspective going on.
Yeah. You see people and the different journeys they've had. Yeah. And so
and the decisions that we make here, how is that going to impact you? I mean, literally, what am I going to look like 40 years from now because of this decision or because of these, habits? And to me, being as active as possible, being pain-free as possible is always, near the top of the list. Not necessarily, bulky muscle, not necessarily.
Like me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. That's hard. I got a different body style. I'm pretty tall. I'm pretty lanky. So to me, that path is going to look a little different, than somebody, who packs it on pretty easily.
Yeah.
I've had moments where I've had back pain, where I've got to go lie in bed for a little bit. I've been there. I've been in places where I'm not as strong as I wish I was, or felt like I should be, or I'm feeling a little heavy this summer. I need to cut a little bit here, And so finding an optimum for me has been what's, that's been important.
Do you think that becoming an entrepreneur is something you anticipate having a positive, negative, or neutral impact on your personal fitness?
Positive for sure. Yeah, it's got to be. That wasn't a very for sure answer there. That was I had to think about it. No,
positive.
Positive for sure. I think. Positive. So for one, I need to lead by example with my patients. I mean, imagine if I'm 300 pounds and I'm asking people to, do fitness related things. That's not a great look, right? No, to understand you got to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just for the perception of other people. It's because I am better off for it as well. And it's we know it's better for your mental health as well. And if I'm going to have the energy to put in after hours stuff with the business, you have to be at a certain level of health.
Yeah.
And so living and working in a space like this, keeping myself fit, that goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
If I can work out here in between patients or something like that, I mean, that just makes too much sense. That's great. Yeah. So impact, being an entrepreneur or starting my own business hasn't had a negative impact on my health. If anything, it's motivated me to, to stay healthy and be as active as I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, Greg, thanks for hanging out with me. I really don't have time constraints of how I try and film these.
Yeah.
I like to burn through some of the questions. And so really the last piece of this, though, is I want you to, again, kind of shamelessly plug who you are, what you do.
Yeah.
How do people get a hold of you? And I want you to break the third wall and face a camera.
Yeah.
And so if someone wants to come and get treatment from you.
Yeah.
How do they
The
find
easiest thing to do would be get on the website, rogerspt.com, so ROGERSPT.com. You'll find contact forms you can fill out there that will allow us to reach out to you. Our phone number is on there as well, and you'll see the different things that we do from rehab, pre-surgical, post-op, post-surgical care, to sports performance. So if you're a healthy individual wanting to just get better at what you do, we've got baseball and softball clients right now. We've got soccer clients. We've got volleyball clients. So it's and ages, all over the map. We've got high schoolers. We've got guys who are middle-aged, working on the farm, driving tractors. So the variety is massive. We do we do golf swing analysis. We do pitching motion analysis for our baseball throwers. And so the website's the best way. I'm on Instagram as well. And if you search Rogers Physical Therapy and Sports Performance, you'll see a picture of me, and that'll be me as well. But the easiest way, rogerspt.com, is the easiest way to find me and start asking questions. Yeah.
rogerspt.com.
There you go.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, Greg, thank you again. I really appreciate the time hanging out, and I'll let you get back to the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, I did have one other question.
Okay, hit it.
I haven't asked anyone else this yet, so you're going to be the first person.
Okay, bonus, no pressure.
Do you have ambitions of being able to hire on more PTs to work for Rogers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the growth of some kind is the goal. There are different avenues to grow, and a common one is another physical therapist. So, yeah, that would be a wonderful dilemma to have so many patients that I need someone else to help me treat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
so
All right.
we'll get there.
Perfect. Now, with that awkward transition,
Yes,
now we'll go ahead and end the podcast.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Cool. And that's it.
Sweet. Thanks, man. How long was that?
How much time do I have left? About to find out.
9:22. When did we start?
Oh, I hope my timer went.